Good evening, bonjour, and thank you, Laurent, Gabrielle, and the entire team of the Montreal Webfest for inviting me to participate in this discussion and introduction to my series, The Pepper Project, and our latest chapter in the continuing story of Pepper and this thriller action drama entitled Pepper Ricochet. I'm coming to you from New York City, where, like many places in the world right now, we are challenged, and it is a very trying time and an extremely trying place to be. I wanted to mention that I feel, in many ways, honored to be part of a community of people that have chosen to create as a profession and as a passion. Because what's interesting to me is during this time where everyone is really just struggling in some cases every day to survive and keep their spirits up, they're turning to the arts, music and dance, storytelling, theater, and of course, streaming and web series and stories that they can find to assist with their daily connection or humor or distraction or what have you, whatever people have created for them to participate in. And I think that's really great. I think it's an awakening and an awareness of the necessity of art in all its many forms, and it certainly makes me feel proud and very privileged to be able to share my work. What makes the Pepper Project and the story of this character different is that she is a woman. It is a female-driven piece, and the many characters around her are significant, but the main thrust of the story is driven by Pepper, who is flawed and not perfect. And I chose this route with this kind of background of a spy thriller theme because women are not often seen or able to be portrayed in this way, in this type of genre, as well as not often able to have the flaws they do and be a more well-rounded, all-encompassing character of many frailties and strengths that we find in everyday life among women and people in general. So we have an example in Pepper that I hope is relatable, because certainly everyone has their struggles and challenges, and as she is searching to find her missing sister and recover elements of her past that she can't remember, she is also very strong and brave and courageous and demonstrates what we all can identify with in the times when we have to rise to the occasion and stand up and demonstrate things and are called to action in ways that we might not anticipate. So a little bit on why I chose to enter this spy thriller kind of world, covert activity. I grew up kind of the tail end of the Cold War, where the United States and Russia were not in a good place. So, surprise, surprise. And the threat of nuclear war was huge, was actually, quite hanging over our heads, especially as a young person, not really understanding it, except understanding the danger of what that would mean. I was petrified. I remember going, when I was in elementary school, having to have air raid drills. And these drills were, this is in the 70s, where this loud siren would go off in the middle of class, and we would be led by our teacher to a basement area of the school, a very, very long concrete hallway type area where we'd have to put one hand over our eyes and the other hand in the back of our neck and line up against the wall and literally stack upon each other, standing, for some sort of protection. God knows it would not have probably done any good. Should, God forbid, something have happened. But that was the world in which I was growing up, and not quite understanding all the politics about it and not having really a lot of the details about it, but just living in that fear caused me to be kind of curious as to what the process is with this type of activity where people may be involved in secrets, in missions, in dangerous, life-threatening activity, and who those people were, how they survived, what they did, and what were their stories. Why are they there? Why did they choose this? Was it chosen for them? Did they not have a choice? Where does their journey start? Where does it end? What happens in the middle? This type of thing was really interesting to me, as well as our own intelligence agency, the CIA and the KGB and MI6, all those things, James Bond, just very, very fascinating to me, the level of activity and the planning and the mind behind all of this stuff, which still I really don't fully comprehend. I don't know how any of us could who's not involved in those organizations. But it was really fascinating and really cool to me to kind of play and bounce off those ideas and create whatever my imagination came up with. And then, how lucky I am to have been able to start to tell this story. I chose the web format because of the freedom and flexibility to tell the story within the structure that I wanted to in a certain period of time. I did not want to be confined to absolute 22 minutes, absolute 44 minutes, 56-minute formats. As I have moved through the first season of my series, each episode or chapter, if you will, is of differing lengths. So my pilot episode, which I also was able to convert to 3 separate chapters, is a full 22 minutes. Ricochet is 10, with a subchapter following that, Pepper Confidential, of 3.5. So I always like to tell a story, and I'm accustomed to telling a story in the time that it needs to be told. I don't believe in really sticking to something all the time, although we do live in a place now where certain structures and guidelines need to be adhered to, and that's fine. The web format is flexible so that you can combine chapters, you can separate them, you can make something longer or shorter, given the demands of the platform. So within the context of starting out with having the knowledge that I could be free to write what I wanted and complete the thoughts of the chapter and the trajectory of the character and the journey without a set structured time frame, for me that was terrific, because I didn't have to put too much worry into, it's got to be 10 pages, it's got to be 11 pages, it's got to be 15 minutes. I just wrote. And however it falls, it falls. Now, of course, we are dealing with different platforms and festivals and things that want to fall into a certain time frame. And I understand that. But I also think as a creator and writer and even director that it's important to tell the story in the time it takes, tell the story in the time it needs to be told. And that is the most important thing. As far as the web festival circuit goes, which I very much enjoy, I don't know if I have expectation other than to appreciate other creators that I'm able to meet and enjoy their work, to dialogue and exchange ideas about what the creative process is like and how they are able to find the heart of their story and what drives them, what makes other creators passionate in telling a story and getting their very ideas just from the head onto the paper, then onto the screen. It's an amazing process, and I love talking about that collaboration with people from all over the world. It's quite frankly, one of the most exciting things I've been able to participate in my career as an actor and as a creator and producer. I think that festivals provide a great opportunity for exposure through social media and followings that you can build and develop and form in those areas, as well as great opportunity for furthering your idea by having elements such as this, such as discussions and panels and workshops, and where you are able to expand a bit more on your creativity and why you created something. Can be a very insular world where we create and then it's just kind of held and things aren't really exploding in certain platforms yet. But it also lends to great opportunity if we're able to incorporate and invite platforms that have ideas and the capability for greater exposure for us as web series creators. I think that's one thing that is what I'm hoping and looking forward to as we progress with web festivals and the circuit, is that we find ways to invite and engage and entice and get what we see streaming in mainstream culture to our concepts and our ideas and our shows and series. It is challenging. We all know that. But in order to have our stories recognized and told, we have to do this kind of work. And we have to take risks to invite people that might say, no, I'm too busy, or I can't send a representative, or I'm not interested, or our platform doesn't cover that. Well, why not? I think we need to be doing some more probing and some more outreach and really truly getting our work exposed beyond YouTube and beyond platforms that are not fully in a great place of exposure, so that we kind of remain in a different kind of subset, but not quite at the level at which we deserve to be seen. You know, are web festivals useful? Of course, I think they're extremely useful, and I think that for myself, I know I have learned so much, and I've been so privileged to be a part of many the past several years globally, and to have the work that I have created and created with my team exposed and shared and, you know, hopefully enjoyed and appreciated for what it is and for what we're trying to do. As a New York-based creator, it's a wonderful way to get your work into a larger community and audience. Things here in America are very driven by popularity and money. Let's face it, that's the way it is. We do not, as creators, have the funding that many other countries have. We just don't. We don't have any government funding. There's no film commission that is handing out grants. It's just unheard of. If you're not, you know, at times really well connected with some sort of producer in Hollywood, you know, you're really not going very far for a very long time. Inroads are tough to make. It is our job to do the best we can to try to take that shovel and pave that path, and to use the context that we make, hopefully, in the web festival circuit, or even use some of the recognition that we are able to attain and that we are awarded, which is terrific. And the honors are just mean so much to help you continue to do the work and to be passionate and to engage and to focus and dedicate yourself to telling stories that are relevant for you and hopefully for other people. But as exposure and as definitely networking, I think that it's really beneficial, and I would just like to see it grow further, to have our circuit of that we are all involved in the world and the World Cup. I think it's important to continue to try to find new inroads and new ways to have the work that we do that is so great exposed and appreciated and enjoyed. Thank you.